Hello and welcome to today's content, which will be on Kitone because she has her EX release and she's here. Without further ado, let's begin. For her main job takeaways, as a base unit, she is a ninja. She's gonna have Shuriken, which has a 5-tile range. It doesn't hit too hard, but it's not bad. She has Hide if she doesn't want to be targeted too often, and she has Shadowbind, which is a little bit of damage and it has a chance to stop. As you can see, it is only 1-tile range away from herself. Outside of that, we have Utsetsumi. Utsetsumi without her EX upgrade is only useful for evasion. However, with her EX upgrade, if she does use Utsetsumi, she not only gets the evasion, but she also gets Mastle and magic resistance by 25% for 3 turns, so it has additional usages even outside of evasion. We have Dream Within a Dream, which does, as we already know, 3-hit damage. It doesn't do too much damage, but it can set up chains or break barriers instantly. We have Debilitator, which is her EX ability that she gets. As you can see, it is typeless Earth Elemental attack, which is at 86% damage, which is not bad. It decreases the single target resistance by 30% for 3 turns for the target, which is why I said 86% is not too bad, considering that she gets a huge damage bonus from the single target resistance down debuff. It also decreases healing power by 50 for 3 turns for the target, which is a pretty significant amount. From here, we have her Limit Break and one of the most prized possessions in live PvP, Saiga Shadowbind. It is almost a guaranteed stop in terms of live PvP if you use it correctly, and she has High Faith onto another High Faith unit or even just mediocre Faith unit. She still has a very good chance of stopping them. So recommended subjobs, we have Ninja, which will not really be used too often at all. Doton is not really going to be worth it because for that a little bit of more damage, but no other benefits, not that good. Poison Mist, she'll almost never used in auto PvP. I don't think I've ever seen her use it in auto either. Decider of Fate is not too bad for accuracy, but she already has a lot of luck as a unit because she's also evasion, so she doesn't really need that extra accuracy because she won't be dealing like 1-hit KO damage in that regard. We have Immobilize, Transposition, Comet, Haste. Most importantly, Haste on the time-made subjob. As you can see here from the list, she does not have Quicken, however. Haste is going to be very important though, so that is alright, and Transposition is still very good, especially in live PvP. As you can see here, Kitone in terms of live PvP is one of the best units in my opinion in the game because of just how much utility she has. For her Soldier subjob, this is where she gets most of the bulk of her damage as a unit in general, which is going to be from Hard Slash or Drain Force. Drain Force is going to be more of her niche build, and Hard Slash is gonna and Hazard Spin are going to be her only real hard-hitting physical damage abilities. Outside of that, Drain Force is going to be extremely strong as a typeless attack with no element. Drain Force is very unique and it's a little bit hard to understand. However, the more max HP you have and more quote-unquote unique modifiers such as like Human Killer or like an Elemental Killer, this will help build up Drain Force's damage to deal like bonkers high amount of damage, considering like it's very hard to mitigate damage from Drain Force basically. For her resistances and passives, damage types we have 10% to slash, -10 to pierce, 5% to strike, 0 missile, and -10 to magic. For her AoE and single target, they start off at 0%. However, as we said before, with her EX upgrade, she can get single target resistance to 12, and I will mention that very soon. At level 120, with her master ability included, she has 0 defense and 0 spirit. Her resistances to statuses is going to be to sleep and bind, immobilize at 50%, and -5 to confusion. I don't know why she has -5 to confusion. Maybe it's something to do with like the Secret of the Heart's Vision card and she likes King Mont or something, but yeah, she does have -5 to confusion, unfortunately. She also, unfortunately, does not have any to paralysis or disable or stop or slow. But I'll get to stop and slow in just a few moments. Her master ability is going to be increasing her evasion rate by 15, which is a very good amount. Her mobility is going to be 4 move, 3 jump as an 80 cost unit as her base unit. And she's also a permanent unit, so you can eventually build her if you want. For her passives, Shadowrunner is very good. Her EX upgrade turns into Way of Swift Shadows. This is where she not only gets acquired AP up for herself, she also gets single target resistance. This is very good for her. And here is where the slow and stop status elements do not matter. If you put on null CT changes, unfortunately you can't be hasted or quickened. However, this also nullifies slow and stop on herself, so she cannot be slow and stop. This is very useful if you use it in the correct hands. Self-sacrifice is her her only damage modifying ability, passive, and she will need it if you want her to deal any type of physical damage. Obviously, if you do a Drain Force build, you should not be using self-sacrifice, but yeah, I digress. For her niche and flex passives, I had to put Shikuchi and Speedcast. Speedcast will only be used for her time-made sub-job, and Shikuchi, while it does give her a 5 move 4 jump, you don't really want her going in alone too far ahead of her team without any backup. And going 5 move with 4 jump is asking to be targeted first thing, like, immediately. Because not many units have 5 move. Almost everyone has 3 move, and even getting the 4 move is a little bit difficult for most units. So that's why I put Shikuchi specifically in flex. In my opinion, however, if you use Shikuchi in like live PvP, we are 100% okay. That is one of the best passives, but that's why. If it's only usable in like one game mode specifically, that's why I put in more niche and flex. For her reaction ability, unfortunately, she does not have too many good ones. Poison Barb is not too useful. It can land the poison. Counter Slash as well. You don't really want her getting hit in general, so reaction abilities here are not going to be too good for her. I will say Slow Counter is one of the most like useful ones outside of the Poison Barb and Counter Slash. I would be using Slow Counter because if you do land a slow on an enemy because they don't kill Kitone, she will outpace them because she is giga fast. And here we are for Kitone's rating out of 5. EX unit as right now, if you used her, I would say that she is focused on dealing slash and typeless attacks. She has low HP unfortunately, decent attack, but very high agility. She is the same thing as Zazan at 69 agility, however she does have Shadowrunner to push it even further past that, so she is one of the fastest units in the game. She has a base of 0 defense and 0 spirit. She's capable of dealing good to decent single target damage. You'll never, and I say this confidently, never find Kitone one-shotting any units unless they're maybe like a lightning element and she has like a very strong like either Drain Force build or attacking build. Outside of that, you will almost never see her one-shotting most units. She has very poor options for AoE because it only exists on Hazard Spin. Outside of that, everything else is only single target. Her main job focuses on evasion, debuffing, and status eliminating her foes, mostly for stops. And she's mostly there to set up her teammates specifically. She will not be doing the one that's carrying unless with her sub job, which is here, her two good sub job, she's either going to be support as a time mage or she's going for that big cheese with Drain Force, which is going to be a soldier sub job. But yeah, her main job is going to be focusing more on like other things compared to her sub job. There are no 100% hit abilities that Kitone has, meaning evasion is ironically useful against Kitone, and units kind of like 2B or like Zazan are actually better than her in that regard. Resistances overall are actually not too bad, and with her EX buff, it definitely allows her for more survivability because of her single target resistance as well as the magic and missile, which are very common for anti-evasion builds. So it's going to be very nice to have. Obviously, if she got hit by like a I believe it's like Banishing Blade from Auron, she could die in one shot, but that is like more different circumstances. Obviously for Missile and Magic, she'll have significantly more survivability there. She's able to inflict Stop, Healing Power Down, and Single Target Imperil all on her main job alone, Single Target Imperil being very strong and important in my opinion. Her EX boosts her stats significantly in HP, similar to Rob. Rob's usability and Kitone's usability was a little bit worrisome at the time because they had such low HP. However, with their EX, they are boosted in their HP. They're not like super crazy, like, oh yes, so high HP now, but it's like, it's acceptable high, like good amount of HP now. It's not gonna be like crazy amount though. This will definitely help her specifically in Drain Force builds for crazy amounts. Now, for feature and longevity, I still give her a 4 out of 5. I do not think she falters too much right now. While her attack can get decently high values, it still has no modifiers or high damage abilities outside of like Hazard Spin. She doesn't have any modifiers because she's an older unit. She only has the evasion up. However, the reason why she keeps her 4 out of 5 points here is that she's going to be used mostly for Drain Force. Because Drain Force is almost, and I say this like literally, almost impossible to mitigate damage from. Almost. Her very niche builds are going to be not really flexible. She's going to be mostly only doing evasion as well as Drain Force builds, which do very well if you execute it properly, but that's pretty much her only real option if she wants to be relevant. While she does have the time mage sub job, she doesn't have Quicken for the ultimate like time mage shenanigans if you want like Quicken like crazy, and then she still has super high evasion and Drain Force. But you can't have Drain Force and Time Mage at the same time, and she does not have Quicken on time made sub job, so you really have to choose what you want her sub job to be. Due to no 100% hit ability, she will be susceptible to vision units. She can still maybe hit them. It won't be 100% though. It will be like the same situation like Zazan and 2B. Ironically, 2B will also be extremely strong against her specifically. Her limit break also uses a lot of AP to even use, and she has a low starting AP, so she will need a little bit of AP generation assistance such as bells or setup on buffs. And I say setup on buffs because her EX passive gives her a lot more acquired AP. If she's using buffs before going in, she will get a good amount of AP before going in. Her unit is mostly based around live PvP, which is another reason why I give her a 4 out of 5, and that's why she still functions like acceptable in PvE and auto. However, PvP, especially live PvP, is going to be where she shines one of the brightest because she has almost an on-demand stop and she just has too much of a good kit in that regard. She's one of the fastest units in the game because of Way of the Swift Shadows, as well as her own high base agility. She's just very good as a unit for that agility rise. She does, however, have no barrier breaks. She does have Dream Within and Dream to break the barrier, but she won't really use that too often considering she has other abilities that will deal more effective damage in that regard. She's very reliant on her single target and EX missile magic buffs to help her survive 100% hits. Like if someone's using a sharpshoot on her and she does not have that buff up, she can die in one shot from Lucia. I mean, not with her EX right now, but if Lucia had EX, then for sure. We also have Cowell, the Wind Arch sniper coming out later, who has a hard hitting sharpshoot. If she does not have this buff on, Kitone has a very high chance of dying in one shot from that. So yeah, if you don't mitigate damage with her properly, she can still die even as a vision unit because 100% hit abilities that are or have very high accuracy abilities such as like Auron's 100% hit ability slash can kill her in one shot if she's not careful. Kitone's kit, and this is why I ended up giving her a 4 out of 5 solidly, is that her kit is very unique and it's very hard to actually like outdate her PvP prowess in terms of live PvP specifically, just because of what she's able to do, and that's why I give her solidly a 4 out of 5. If it was only live PvP based, I would argue she'd be close to a 5 out of 5 unit, and auto I would say she's more closer to a 3.5 out of 5. However, because I kind of have to combine the categories, I do overall give her a 4 out of 5. For her TMR chase rating, Saiga Gauntlets I believe is actually super good. It's obviously niche, however I still believe it's good. The stat stick on it is actually kind of horrible, however it does give her evade, not her specifically, but the user evade and agility, which are going to be the more important stats. And the active is very nice to have because it not only lowers your hate, but it basically gives someone Shikuchi passive for 3 turns, which is very nice to have depending on where you're trying to go. You can even stack it with Shikuchi, so if you put on Mont who is using Shikuchi, like King Mont, he has 4 move, 2 jump. If you use Fleet of Foot, now he has 5 move, 3 jump. So now he has that for 3 turns and he is going to go all the way over to the other side of the map. Just giving you an example, I believe it's an extremely good utility TMR for auto and live PvP. And here we are with stuff that can work well with Kitone. I know there's a few like new faces here, but I will talk about them briefly. We have Zazan first, which is going to be one of the best setups because they both are evasion and they can both work well off each other. Zazan is also focused mostly on single target damage, and guess who can lower single target resistance? That's right, Kitone. So they can set up each other very well. Winter Venera really needs her EX because she definitely has usability, especially against magic oriented teams, but she really does not have her EX, so it makes her not viable right now. But in the future I do believe they will have like a decent amount of synergy with each other. We have Moraga coming out later in the selection quest, much later, but Moraga will definitely work well with Kitone in terms of damage. Obviously not evasion, but damage in general. We also have the new 100 cost Earth Dragoon Lancer dude that came out in JP. I don't know his name and I don't want to translate it, but he is also Earth and he'll be very effective like going off of Kitone's like benefits. But Kitone is going to be more working off of him technically because he gives the mono earth buffs. All of these units here all give the mono earth buff, something that Kitone does not provide for her team herself. She will have to rely more on either the stops, the chain setups, or the single target resistance down, or she could even haste them if she needs to. But yeah, this is what I believe can kind of work well with Kitone specifically. For TMRs, Dankers Co will still always be very good until we get that Santa Claus. Also, because if you use Dankers TMR and then use Ribbon, you not only have a good amount of HP, you have a decent amount of defense, you have crit evasion, and you have, I believe it's light resistance. So you also get the evasion from Ribbon in that combo, so it's going to be very good. Bells, obviously, if you're not going to do a buff setup, she needs Bells to make sure that she's drain forcing constantly and over and over and over. Ribbon is one still the best items in the game for evasion. Sage's Hat is still very good too. And Santa Claus, until it comes out from Raid, I will always mention it. It is the best evasion item in the game, and we need it to come out for evasion units. I will say this with a little bit of bias. I don't like evasion. However, I do believe it's there for the evasion units specifically. Overall, this is the end of the video. As always, if you liked my unit review of Kitone, please leave a like and subscribe. And yeah, until the next video, which will probably be a while because I am exhausted after doing 4 videos in one day. But yeah, until next video, peace out.